Hi everyone. So this seems to be a elementary grades classroom. The teacher is going over a science lesson about what animals live in different habitats and why. So she's looking at all the habitats of Georgia. The first thing I noticed is that you can only see about half of the class in her video, and the camera does rotate, but it's kind of distracting in that sense. So I wish that she would have placed the camera in a different area that didn't have to be shifted to be able to see other students that were responding. So one of the first things that I noticed is that she activates prior knowledge, and I'll pause it again in just a second to comment on that.
Does anybody know what an adaptation is? Yes. Changes to fit a place? Yes, a change that an animal does to fit its place. So it can be such things as webbed feet, sharp claws, or large beaks.
Okay, so I really like this because she does activate the student's prior knowledge. She asks them what is a adaptation. The student responds to that adaptation. It's a little hard to hear that what that student said because they are elementary schoolers and not as loud as our middle or high schoolers are. But she does repeat what that student says, and she adds on to it so that everyone can hear. She even gives them examples of adaptations that I don't think the student gave. So I like that she repeats the student's answer to show them that they were correct, but then she adds on to it.
I'm going to do this little quiz.
So here she had some kind of technical difficulty. I don't know if it was her computer or if she didn't already have the little group quiz pulled up. Either way, I completely understand it. It's something that all teachers go through and that all teachers have struggles with sometimes. But if she was submitting this to EdTPA, I really wish that she would have made sure that all of the content was on one computer so she didn't have to switch back and forth between computers, and if this was the issue, that she already had the quiz pulled up so that it didn't have to load. I'm not sure which one it is, but I wish that she would have made this little section smoother so that the viewers didn't have to wait for her to get the actual quiz pulled up.
So it's called the habitat game. So how you play it is you click Start Quiz. To get started, you look at the picture and the description of a habitat, and you choose one animal to see if that matches the right animal to that habitat.
Okay, so I really like that she referred to it. I don't know if it's the name of the game or whatever, but she referred to it as a game, which makes automatically elementary school, even middle and high school kids, it makes it a little bit more intriguing because it's a game. It's not a test, it's not a quiz or anything like that. It's a game that they're playing. So, and I also did like that she gave clear directions. I can't see her screen, which is an issue for EdTPA if you were going to submit this, but she does a good job explaining what's on the screen. She does this throughout the entire video, not just on the directions page. So I don't like that I can't see her screen, but she did a good job explaining what was on the screen, even though we can't see it.
I know what a habitat is. Yes. And what do you think it is? So it's basically like their home, like their little ecosystem that they live in, that has their food, their shelter, and everything that they need in here in there.
Okay, so same thing here. She activates their prior knowledge about what a habitat is. The students already obviously know this information, but it was good that she activated it, so it's on their minds, they're ready to go, and they're looking at what animals live in different habitats.
Mackenzie? So an example is a frog lives near water, or a bear lives in the forest.
I do like that before that she gave all of this information, she gave examples about what were different animals that lived in different habitats. So she uses this I do, we do, you do strategy where the teacher does something, shows how it's supposed to be done, then the teacher does it together with the students, and then at the end, the students finally do it on their own. So it's a great strategy to use, especially for elementary school students and even middle and high school students, because they need that direction and they need that clarification about what they're supposed to be doing.
So, which animal lives in a river?
I really like that she gave all the students time to think about what their answer was before she even considered calling on a student. She continues to inquire, what do you think this is going to be, before she calls on a student. So it gives all the students a chance to think about their answer before she actually calls on someone to give the answer.
A fish. Correct. It says that fish live in rivers because they swim in the water and they have gills to breathe underwater. So it's kind of like their noses, but their gills are like on the sides of their faces.
Okay, so one thing I didn't like here is that she didn't let the student even explain why they thought that a fish lived there. She didn't give them a chance to explain that, or to, even if they didn't know it, to let someone else in the class have a chance to explain it. So not letting the student fully think through their ideas was not probably the best thing. But I did like that she compared a gill to someone's nose, which is a very good comparison for a elementary school child.
Which animal lives in a deep, dark cave? A deer, a mountain lion, or a duck? Yes, a mountain lion. Why do you think a mountain lion?
Because the duck lives in water and the deer lives in field.
Okay.
Okay, so I did like here that she asked for the student explanation, and the student described his thought process of the process of elimination, where he describes where all the other animals live, and they don't live in that space, so that animal must be the one that lives here. So I do like that she asked for the student to give their explanation for why in this situation here.
Correct. It says mountain lions use caves for shelter, and they use it to protect their young. Which animal gathers near nectar from flowers? Do you think a bee gathers nectar, a fox, or a frog? A bee? Why do you think a bee?
Bees make honey.
Okay. Do you know what nectar is?
Yep. They gather nectar to make the honey.
Yeah, you get it from flowers.
Okay, so here I like that she asked for the student's explanation, and then she even asked for the student to explain what nectar was. She asked, okay, do we know what nectar is? And the students were able to actually explain that. So it's great because even though students didn't know, if a student didn't know what nectar was, they now know because it was something that was gone over in class.
Correct. It says bees use nectar from flowers for food. Which animal lives in the forest? A fish, a bear, or a zebra?
A bear.
A bear? Why do you think a bear? Do you think a zebra could live in the forest?
No.
Why not?
They live in
They live in
desert.
Why do you think a fish could live in the forest?
Okay, so here it was obvious that the student had a little bit of an issue explaining why the bear lived in the forest, but she did a good job having all the other students help him think through it. One thing I wish that she would have done was wait for the processing time for the student. She didn't have enough wait time before she continued asking her questions about using the process of elimination for all the other ones. So I wish that she would have had a little bit more wait time before responding, but she did a great job having all the other students help them out with the answer to be able to explain why that animal lived there.
It says bears can find all the food they need in the forest. Bears eat berries, nuts, plants, insects, and sometimes even fish. Which animal eats grass in meadows? A frog, a deer, or a coyote? A deer? Let's see. Correct. It says deer eats grass and other plants to survive. Lots of grasses can be found in meadows.
Okay, so here I noticed that many of the answer explanations include what the animals ate, so their diet, but so I wish that she would have prompted students with this question when they answered, so she could have asked, okay, so what might this animal eat that makes you think they live in this habitat? So I noticed many of the answers had that as their explanation, so I wish that she would have included that more in the students' responses. But overall, I liked how engaged the students were. She tried to include several different students in the group discussion. She didn't call on just one table or on just a few select students. She included many students throughout the group discussion. So it was a little hard to hear the students' responses. They are elementary schoolers, so they're going to be more soft-spoken than a middle or high school student would be. But she did a good job of repeating their answers so that we could understand what they said. At the end of the class discussion, students then researched an animal and its habitat. So she completed that I do, we do, you do strategy. At the beginning, she explained what animals lived in different habitats, so she explained that for them. Throughout this clip that we saw, she did the we do section of the strategy where the teacher and the students all do it together. And then after this clip, she does the you do strategy where the students apply what they have learned in class on their own.